Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today to get through this thing called life. L.Y.F. Love yourself first. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Cola Taylor, and I'm here with Miss Jolie Rashawn, motivational speaker, life coach, actress, model, author, and I'm pretty sure the list goes on. How are you today, Miss Jolie?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to go towards the life coaching aspect of the plethora of things that you already do.
That's perfectly fine.
Yes. How did you get started into life coaching?
Well, I do a whole number of things, and I was actually hosting a domestic violence event for a woman that I met who's a domestic violence survivor. And during the event, she was talking about her coach, got her here, coach got her comfortable. And so I made a joke and I was like, I'm gonna have to reach out to your coach about some things. And so she said, okay, we can share. And I reached out, wanting to really just get into more speaking. I'm very social, but it's a difference in just being social and actually touching people's lives.
Right.
And so as I went through that aspect, just having to revisit things about my own life, I realized there are so many people who don't have an outlet to help them, not necessarily tell them what they need to do, but show them what's already in them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when people tell us, hey, you need to do this, you need to be on this path, you start living other people's dreams and what other people think you need to do. And so just through that, I was like, you know what? It would be great for me to be in a position to help people find who they truly are, not who mama and daddy say you're supposed to be, not the dream grandma had or your friends that's not even doing nothing with their life, how everybody has their own input of what you are supposed to be, but who God really intended for you to be. And so I dove headfirst into it, and it was definitely a journey, because we don't realize how much we have tucked away. So being able to look at my fears face to face and get over those hurdles, it really encouraged me to say, hey, I can get out here and help somebody because I first allowed myself to be helped in all of the things that I thought was holding me back. So it has just been an amazing journey getting to this point. I think I'm going into year 3. So.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So, and that's, I think that's one of the things that people go to life coaches for is to learn how to transition, right? From wherever they were to wherever they are. You know, and that's what that did for you. Like, even as a life coach, like what type of, I guess, subject matters or requests do your clients ask for? Like what the majority of people, what are they trying to do with their lives?
I think most people are trying to heal first, because for me, one of the biggest things that I went through, which I think it's a topic that most women and men are afraid to reveal, is being sexually abused. I was molested as a young girl. And so it took away a lot of things for me. It took away my vulnerability. It took away my womanhood. And I think I meet a lot of people that have gone through that, but have never said anything. Because for one, when you put things out there, it's never a positive in the beginning. It's a negative. Oh my God, if it's a guy, oh my God, he's going to be gay. Like, that's the first thing you go through when someone has had a trauma, is the negative of what it's going to do to them, versus how can we get these people help? How can we make them understand that this is not their fault? So a lot of my clients they're trying to figure out, how did I even get to this place? So it's kind of the nail and chisel. Now we have to hammer through all of the hurt and get to what the root is. And I think once they find what the root cause of why they're always angry, why they have these feelings towards a certain gender, why they are always down, why they're so insecure, then it's a building process, because a lot of them don't even know what direction they need to go in. It's, hey, I don't even know who I am. And that's how I was. I didn't know. I thought modeling was my everything. Okay, this is the route God has me. And it was like, no, I just need to take you this route so I can have you meet the right people, and then you can find the root of why you feel the way you do. Because I some of those feelings I forgot I even buried. They were so deep. So um when clients first come to me, I don't even ask them what they're trying to do. I first want to know, why are you here? What are you looking for? And a lot of times they don't know. So then we have to find ways to dig. Okay, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your relationship with your family. And you be surprised at the things people see. Well, I grew up in a family where my parents were married, but my mom had a boyfriend. And that's why I cheat all the time, because that's all I know. My aunt had 2 and 3. Like, you never know the situations, but people don't even realize they are a product of their environment until you actually start digging. So I think the very first thing that I just want to do is help people heal first. I can't help someone else if I haven't healed. And I think most of the time we're not going to find our true purpose if we haven't healed, because we're still holding on to something.
I
So
believe that. That makes sense. So when people are looking for a life coach, like what are the qualities they should be looking for?
um you first should be looking for, you should do your research on anybody you work with. Even in the position I am, I'm still under a coach. And in going for mine, I looked for someone who's going to hold me accountable. You want to look for someone who, first of all, confidentiality. If I come to you and I want to talk to you, I feel like I don't know if you're going to tell somebody else. So I'm looking for someone who's going to sign a confidentiality form. The things that I share with you, I don't want to be in a room with people and somebody's like, oh yeah, I remember, I know you, I got a friend and they told me you this, and everything that I confided in you is now out in the open. So you want
Right.
someone that you can definitely trust and confide in. You also want someone who is positive. I don't want anybody who's going to blame me. Well, the reason why you're in the position you're in is because you did this, you did this. No, I don't need anybody to tear me down. I'm already tore up. I'm already broken. So I need someone who's going to help me to build. Um, it's just like having a cheerleader. I was a cheer coach for 12 years, and
See, you did
the,
everything.
I did everything. And like those kids, even now, they're like, oh my God, like you rooted for us more than the crowd rooted for us. You have to have somebody who, in spite of all of the negative around, they're going to uplift you. They're going to build you. They're going to root you. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. And that's what my coach did. So all of the things that she instilled in me, I want to be that same example to somebody else. If you feel like you can't trust me, don't come to me. But I'm and then you want someone that's transparent. You can't go to someone, I can't come on your podcast and you tell me, I've never, we're having a conversation, and I've never experienced any of these things. Well, how is it going to be a back and forth if you've never experienced anything? I've been married a couple of times. So in my first marriage, it was a abusive relationship. We fought all the time. We argued all the time. And I remember we went to his pastor, and his pastor said to me and my wife have been married, I think he said 50 years or something like that. And he said, we have never had a fight. Our days are great. And I picked up my purse and I started to walk out. And he was like, that was so rude. How are you just going to leave? I said, sir, if you have never had an argument or a fight with your wife, you cannot help me in this, man, because we are at each other's throats. So I left. I cannot help you if I have never been through anything, if I have never experienced a trauma. If I tell you that all of my days have been peaches and berries, I can do nothing for you, because I don't know what it is to struggle. I don't know what it is to cry. I don't know what it is to be angry or any of those things. So just making sure you do your homework, make sure that it is somebody that can relate to you, that doesn't mind crying with you. I don't want to be I don't want anybody that doesn't show empathy to me. I don't want somebody to feel sorry for me, but be like, hey, I understand where you are. Now let me help you get to where you need to go. So those are very key points for me. And then also just for me, a relationship with God. Not saying I'm pushing God on anybody, but my morals are in the right place. You have some people who just do this for the money and they don't care how things affect you. They don't care how your outcome is. They don't care about your well-being. So for me, those are things I feel like you need to look for in a life coach. When you leave them, what type of person are you wanting to be after the fact?
So what do you love about life coaching?
I love it's so many things. I, I love the fact that my clients come back.
Mhm.
If one session did it for you, sometimes I feel like maybe I didn't do my job. Maybe I didn't say the right things. Because if you're really broken, one session, an hour or two, is not going to help you. So if you continue to come back and to seek and to allow me to further pour into you, then that means I'm doing my job right. If I reach out to you and we talk and I never hear from you again, then that makes me have to reevaluate myself. Okay, am I doing the right things? But seeing people smile, knowing that I help them in some type of capacity, that does it for me. And again, like I said, it's not about the money. It is about somebody help me. So how many more people can I help?
Like paying
I,
it forward.
yes. I remember I spoke with a lady and she was like, if she says she feels like God sent me to her because she was contemplating suicide.
Oh.
I know what that feels like. So I'm glad I listened, for one, to God telling me to reach out, because sometimes we miss the mark not listening. And so just things of that, just knowing that I'm obedient and I'm actually reaching out and helping someone off the ledge. It's an amazing feeling. Just helping someone find that smile does it for me. So.
Right. Well, what do you say is, aside from not coming back, like what other challenges do you think that you face with some of your clients?
A lot of clients are angry. And I think I have to realize they've been angry for a long time. So I have to separate my feelings because I'm so passionate. So I want to be able to get to everybody. Okay, don't be angry. But then I have to remind myself I was angry once too. And it took a lot for somebody to get me out of that. So some people, they come in already, you can't help me. So the patience part of it, just, I guess, again, talking them off that ledge, because I don't think and I'm saying we because I was once in their position. I went into that still with the mindset of, I've been dealing with this for so long, nobody can help me, I'm a lost cause. So even though my coach took the time to dig, I gave her a lot of pushback and I had to apologize because I was like, you should have gave up on me a long time ago, because that was the mentality I had, because that's all I knew. So I have to be careful of, hey, they're hurting. Always remember, they're hurting. You don't know how deep someone's hurt is. So they may not break right. They may not break in a week. It may take them a month to break. But you have to I think for me, I beat myself up more thinking this hasn't happened yet. So am I doing the right things? Yes. Some people take longer to get to that breaking point. So I just think that's where it is for me. If I tell you all the things I've been through, you'd be like, holy cow, that's enough for about 4, 5, 10 different people. So in those different situations, I have to go back and say, remember when you were here. Remember when you were raped. Remember when you were homeless. Remember when you had to sleep in a car. Remember when you didn't have any food. Remember all of these different things and realize they're just as hurt as you were in that moment. It took me years to get to where I am. So imagine how long it's taken them to
Mhm.
get to the place to even try and seek help.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of reminds me of that song. Was it the only man who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man?
mhm. I hear the vocals, I hear them.
Well, I am the karaoke queen. I try to get down from time to time.
Love it, love it.
But I mean, it's true. You want somebody who has been where you were, or at least in some form.
Yeah,
Because if life is roses for you, like, how are you going to understand my thorns?
yep.
I mean, you're not going to. So that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What type of clients do you like working with?
Um, this is gonna sound so bad, but I love difficult clients because it pushes me out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
It's easy to work with someone who doesn't have a whole lot, they're just, a little hurt. But when you have people that have really been through the trenches, um, it's just like, okay, we're gonna get through this together. And I think for me, it continuously helps me to heal.
Mhm.
Some wounds you have, for instance, my mom, she has stab wounds from years ago, like when I was a little girl,
Mhm.
that still bother her at times, depending on what's going on. If the weather changes, it gets a little cold here, so those wounds still bother her. So it still reminds her of those instances. So when I get a client who, I'm gonna say clients that have gone through sexual abuse, I can definitely relate to that. And I enjoy working with those clients because it allows me, in a sense, to see what I missed or what I blocked out of my life. And then it also helps me to become a better woman, because when that happened to me, I gave up anything that had to do with girl. I was tomboy, sports. I didn't want to have anything. I cut my hair, like nothing of those traits. So it's easy for me to relate to them, but some are more traumatic than others. But it helps me continue to heal. And then sharing it allows them to see, even though that part was taken from me, I can still grow up in a sense and become whoever I want to be.
Mhm.
Because I felt like that was it. Yep. Any dreams I've had to being a whatever it was when I was little, that's out the window. And you feel like you're exposed. And to show those women that you're not exposed, even though we seem like we are. It seems like, molested is written on your forehead. Every time somebody's looking at you, you think they see. It's almost like mentally, we're affected. Everybody can see what's happened. You want to cover up all the time. You do extra things and it's not even necessary, but that's just how the mental works. It makes you think everybody's looking at you, everybody's disgusted by you, something's wrong with you, it's your fault. So being able to relate to those women is a blessing. But then um, sometimes I get clients who, they've been through other things. I've never had a father beat on me, but I can tell you about learning to love yourself and to forgive. Those areas I can help you. I can apologize for what has happened to you, but I can teach you the things around that will help you heal from that.
Mhm.
So um, it's definitely a journey, because it also teaches me about um, different things about people and what they go through and how it affects them, which we don't always know. And every smile doesn't always mean happy behind it. Sometimes my smile was a camouflage for everything I went through. So some people wear a camouflage every day. The makeup, the different things, those are all camouflages. And sometimes it's to hide the pain that people go back home to. I meet a lot of people out in the social world, and I'm like, man, they're always somewhere. I always see them. I do karaoke too. So meet a lot of people at karaoke. I meet a lot of people just at different events, model events, and not understanding that's their outlet. So they're
Right.
never home because home is where hurt is. So they're always trying to be in the midst of something. And then I had to think back, well, Jesus, I was doing that too, and didn't even realize that's what I was doing. I was finding an outlet. So it's teaching me a lot about who I've become and where I was, but also how to reach people. So it's okay to be in those places. It's okay. And my grandma used to say, you're a social butterfly for a reason. And when I was little, I didn't understand it. But as I got older and I see where God is taking me, I'm like, this is exactly why I can talk to anybody, because you have to be approachable. People have to want to share
Right.
with you. So
I saw somewhere that you said that you were shy.
yeah, I do have a little shy side. I do.
Okay.
Look, I'm gonna tell you how it comes about. So
Okay.
I can be out talking and I can be doing things, and somebody can say, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." And I don't know how to take compliments well. So I'd be like, "Oh, thanks." And then I hurry up and change the subject so we can get off of whatever the compliment was. I don't know how to take compliments really well, because I'm like, I don't want to be like, "Oh, thank you, girl." And it's like, "Oh, she conceded." So I don't know how to take those. So I don't know how to react when I hear those type of things. I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Oh yeah, girl, we talked about this." And I go off into something else. So I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, she says she's a social butterfly and all this, but she just
Yeah,
said she was shy. I don't
yes.
understand. Like
When it comes to those compliments and stuff, I'd be like, "Woo, Lord, you have to help me, because I don't know how to." I can give them all day long, but when people start taking them, I'd be like, "All right, let's find something to talk about."
Yeah, I mean, I often wonder about that, because there are some people who, to me appear to be, extroverted and, outgoing and all this. And then they turn around and say that they're shy. And I'm like, how? Like, you just was talking to the stranger. You were dancing on the dance floor by yourself,
That's me. That is me all day. But when you give me, or things like when people put me on the spot, I sing in the choir at church and people be like, "Oh, sing something." And I'd be like, no, no, don't put me on the spot. Like, I freeze up. So it's like little bitty things that I'm like, "Oh my God, you do everything else. And these little hiccups like freeze you." So yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm the same way. Like even at karaoke, like I'll get up and I'll sing in front of everybody, no problem. But if you ask me to go out there and just speak to somebody, no,
Really?
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't like even this, like this is fine because it's one-on-one, it's me and you, but if you were to ask me to talk in front of a bunch of people or even going live like on Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that, because I feel like I'm looking at myself, I'm talking to myself, like I can't, like I love myself, I do, but I could do that by myself. I don't need to be
I
have
need
a
a big old
platform
audience.
by myself, like I don't need that.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love it.
And back in the day, I also used to work in radio,
I
and
can see that.
yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, so I used to work in radio, so it'd be me and the microphone. That's perfectly fine, but my professors used to want me to get into television. They're like, "Oh, you're cute. Why not? We need more female presence out there. We need more women of color out there." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great." But as soon as that little red light comes on and you want me to remember everything that I wrote down and everything, completely blank. I can't do it. So I'm just gonna sit in my booth in the radio.
Look, they look for you and your chair is spinning because you done jumped out of it. It's just
Yeah,
spinning on the seat.
exactly. Where'd she go? I don't. She's already halfway home by the time you figure it
Oh my
out.
God. Now wait, you're on the East Coast, right?
Yes, I'm in
Where exactly?
Florida.
What part?
I'm in like close to Fort Lauderdale.
You know that's where I was born and raised.
No, I didn't.
Yes. So look, I'm gonna have to look you up because I have a tour that I'm starting next week, Saturday, called the Boss Up Tour. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get you to come out. I'm not gonna ask you to speak because you already told me you're not getting
Yeah,
up in
please
front of nobody
don't.
to speak. But
Please
but I'm,
don't do that.
but I'm gonna have to invite you when I bring it there so that way you can come and just, be a part, be a guest. I'm not gonna put you on the spot.
I appreciate that. I would definitely come. Yeah, you just have to shoot me the details. What do you say is your coaching style?
So I am a big kid. I have always, my grandmother, before she passed, I was her favorite. And she'll tell anybody that I was the
Mm,
favorite. You couldn't mess with me. But my grandmother spoke a lot of wisdom to me. And she used to always say, laughter is like medicine. And I've always found ways to bring laughter in the midst of pain. Even if I'm speaking somewhere, I don't know how to, I'm serious all the time, but there's a joke or a punchline in there somewhere
right.
because I feel like people in healing, sometimes you have to look back. Like I look back now and I'd be like, man, me and those kids was on the bus all the time, not knowing where we were going to sleep. And I used to make a field trip out of that thing. I used to tell them that the bus was the best thing. Cars were for suckers. People got cars, they're lazy, they don't want to get on the bus. Like I had to make a difficult situation into a great situation. So I would find games to play. But looking back at that stuff, I can laugh at it now. I
Mm,
cried then, and just showing people that, hey, it's okay to laugh at the mistakes you made. That shows growth.
right.
So helping people find the laughter in things, people have told me, man, I haven't been able to laugh like that. I haven't been able to smile like that. So I'm definitely, I don't take that away. Even in when I was figuring out what type of coach I wanted to be, my coach was like, you have a jester personality. And I do. I don't know how to turn it off. I'll never try to turn it off. Because that's just who I am in all things. If I'm at a show, if I'm anywhere, like I'm telling a joke, I'm being funny, but that draws people to me because
Mm,
they feel like I have a great sense of humor and personality. So I'll never give that up. I like being humorous, even though everything is so serious. I need you to find laughter. I need you to find that. Crying is cleansing. I'm a crybaby too. But even after that, you have to be able to laugh and say, okay, it says God has a sense of humor. So he's not meant for us to be serious all the time and,
right.
none of those things. So I like teaching people about themselves. I'm I'm a minister. I do a lot of stuff, but
I told you there's a plethora. Sitting there looking at this laundry list, like,
but I teach in the midst of it. I'm not a hooper and a hollerer, but I can teach you about yourself and how to do things and different steps to take to make you a better person. I enjoy that. I enjoy teaching. Even in my jobs that I've had, I've always transitioned into some type of teaching role because I can, like I said, I can tell you what to do all day long, but somebody telling you and somebody teaching you is two different things. Okay, you told me how to be a doctor, but you didn't give me any training. I didn't take any courses. I didn't take any tests. I didn't do any of that. So I love teaching. Um, so I guess that would be my style. But I'm a kid at heart. I can make you laugh all day long and with no effort whatsoever. It's just who I am. But
I mean, that's good though, because as you said, people take life a little too seriously at times.
mhm,
I mean, life, I guess, is serious,
mhm.
so you have to have like happy moments in between.
You have to have a
And
balance.
yeah, exactly. I love movies, absolutely love movies. And so like you could take a little bit out of every single movie that you
Mhm.
see And there was this movie called Under the Tuscan Sun. You ever see it?
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's
So
a
I'm
good
gonna have to
movie.
watch it.
It's a pretty good movie. But in the movie, you know, this woman, she's trying to find herself, and she goes to Italy, you know, to she's recently divorced, you know, she goes to Italy just to take a trip, and she ends up living there, and just everything that could go wrong does go wrong, you know, in her life or whatever, but she sticks it out and she's trying to figure it out. But she meets this older woman who just seems so full of life, and you know, she's like beautiful, and she's like just whimsical. And one of the lines that she had on there was, never lose your childhood enthusiasm.
Mm.
And ever since she said that, that's like stuck with me. I say it all the time. Anytime I take a silly picture, it's hashtag never lose your childhood enthusiasm, you
Wow.
know, because you shouldn't. Life is
Yeah.
too serious as it is. You know, most
Mm-hmm.
people are in jobs they don't want to be in, they don't
Yep.
like, you know, so why take anything else seriously, you
Yeah.
know, if you don't have to, you know?
Yep.
And even when you said, you know, you made a game out of being on the bus with your kids and things like that, it made me think of like Pursuit of Happiness, you know, where they're, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they have to sleep in the subway stations, and
Yep.
like, let's go
Yep.
in the bathroom and look, there's
Yep.
dinosaurs, you know?
Yep.
So,
It's crazy. When I was I was homeless with my three younger kids, and I didn't tell anybody. I lived around family, but um I felt like I was a burden to family just from how I was treated when I'm trying to stay with different people. So I said, forget it. I'll do what I have to do. And I remember we had to go to these different churches and sleep. And I had to make a game out of that. I was like, okay, we're gonna figure out what church we're gonna go to next. And to this day, now mind you, my younger three kids now are 20, 18, and 17.
mhm,
So we're talking when they were like 7 and under.
yeah.
And I remember we went to this church, and we went in the side that they have, and it was this huge area, and they had chefs that came in and cooked for us. And they had this room, they had these little cots that we sleep on. And I remember the lady, she was telling me, she said, we can only do so much. Keep your kids and your belongings close to you. And so my kids slept, but I didn't sleep because I was watching them to make sure. But they had all kind of games, and they made it a fun environment. My
Mhm,
kids still remember that experience, because to them, it wasn't we were homeless. It was, oh, we're going to visit these churches and we get to spend the night here and we're having all of this great fun. And so you have to make those experiences as best as possible.
mhm,
Even though I knew, God, why am I even in this predicament? Like, what did I do so wrong that I'm having to do this? But at the same time, I trust you. I trust your process. And while I'm going through this, let me camouflage so my kids don't think we're less than,
mhm,
because they didn't know we were just. It was times I had a car, but I had nowhere to live. So I would go to my grandmother's house. My grandmother had enough people at her house, and she would ask, where you going? Oh, I'm staying with a friend. And I would leave, and I would drive around until the kids fell asleep, and then I would go park at the park, and we would sleep at the park.
mhm,
So just little things. They didn't know the difference. All they knew is when they woke up, they were back in the car. Oh, we slept somewhere, now we're in the car. We're going back to grandma's house. We're gonna watch TV and eat over there. Like, they did not know anything, and I made sure that they didn't know. So even when people are going through things like that, like, we have to find the best in the midst of the worst, or what seems like the worst. And so when you said that, I'm just like, it's been so many instances. So when I hear people say I can't come out of this, oh darling, you can. You can come
right.
out of anything. So
Mhm.
yeah.
That's amazing. So I know you wrote several books.
Yes.
Is one of those books about your life and the struggles that you went through?
Yes. So my first solo book. That's crazy because I pulled them out. I didn't think I was gonna have on here, but my first solo book is actually me as a superhero.
Mhm.
And it tells about each chapter that I went through, from the beginning to just dealing with men saying I love you and not meaning it or what it meant to me. To me, a man telling me I love you meant, okay, now I have to sleep with this person because that's what I was taught in the beginning, being
That's what
molested.
love
Okay,
is.
yes. So for years, that's what I struggled with until I had to stop and say, okay, I need to seek God and find out what love is. I first need to love myself. And it talks about so many different things. It is a book of emotional roller coaster. It's gonna make you angry, it's gonna make you cry, it's gonna make you laugh. But it's a part of my life. And my grandma, I'll tell you, my grandma used to spit some stuff to me, and I'd be like, this lady here didn't understand it, but she said, baby, can't nobody tell your story like you tell your story. Right. So you can't tell people about how many guys I slept with before I can tell you. You don't know my body count. I know the body count. So you can't tell my story for me. I can tell it better. So why not tell it in a positive way to help somebody is dealing with something that's in this book? May not be all of it, but there is a chapter that someone is dealing with or has dealt with, and it is still lingering over their head. So why not use that to help somebody come out of whatever they're in?
Yeah, exactly. And
I'll have to sign and send you a book.
Oh, please do. I saw it online, and like I'm sitting there looking at the picture. I'm like, this looks like her. I wonder if that was by design. Of course, I guess it is by design. Because I was sitting there looking at it like, I want to be a superhero. I don't want to go through those origin stories though. That's the whole thing, is the origin story to get to the superhero part. Oh gosh. So when you're dealing with your clients, because I also saw on your website, you have SCREAM spelled out on there. What does SCREAM stand for?
I have to give it the goods.
Give it to me, baby.
So SCREAM stands for search, cry out, release. Then you have the wrong stuff. I try to change it up at times because sometimes we need different things. So search, cry out, release, exhale, accept, and move. And I teach you through those 6 steps how to find your SCREAM. Before I got married, my last relationship, I went through so much hell. So much. And I felt like in that relationship, I gave my all. I gave all I had for it to be, I guess, kind of thrown back in my face after about 6-7 years. And I remember going into a deep depression. And of course, they give you all the meds. And to me, they're downers because it made me think about doing things that I wouldn't normally think about doing if I was in my right mind. And I remember one day, and this is how this was birthed. Now, this was birthed over 10 years ago and not realizing it. There's a rec center in a park not far from me, and it has this pond, and it's just so surreal and peaceful. And I remember one day I was like, I'm just gonna take a drive. I need to try to clear my mind. And I drove to the pond, and I walked up to it, and I opened my mouth thinking I'm going to talk to God, and all I could do was scream. And once I screamed, I started crying, and I was just, everything that I'm telling you those stand for was everything I did in that 5-10 minutes I was out there. And I said, okay, God, I think I can get through this. And then I went on about my business. And then I went through all of my training, and God was like, hey, remember that day I had you scream out there at the pond? what did you do? And that's how I came up with Scream.
Mm.
So it's helping people find their inner Scream, and it's not even a negative. It's actually a positive. Sometimes you have to release all of the negative that you have, negative toxins, negative relationships, negative friendships, negative family, negative thing. Like it's okay to love family, but sometimes you have to put a wedge because family will drag you down at times quicker than your friends or strangers will. So you have to find your Scream. You have to know what you need to let go of, what you need to release in order for you to move on and be a better you.
Yeah, makes sense. It kind of I told you I like shows, I like movies, right? So recently there's like this show I can't get out of my head. I've never been in these, situations before, thankfully. But I know a lot of people do, but there's a show called Made on Netflix. And in the show, this woman, she's emotionally abused at home. She grabs her daughter and she tries to, run out. And she has no support. Like there's all her friends are his friends. Her mother has like some kind of mental illness. Her father is absent, so she's completely on her own. And, she has to try to rely on government assistance. But, one part of government assistance says, okay, you can stay here in a shelter because you were emotionally abused. But then, the state doesn't recognize for monetary means they don't recognize emotional abuse as abuse. So, she's basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. She can't get a job without daycare, and she can't get daycare without a job. So, but I'm just sitting here like looking at this show and I'm like, how do you not have anybody? Like there's nobody on your team. And, how do you tell your family members no, because everybody like they push it into your head, blood is thicker than water, you have to stick with your family. But what if your family is the root of all those toxins?
Yep. Yep.
So what do you do then? You're like, how do you get around it?
I can answer that. For me, it was actually someone who was not related to me that allowed me and my kids to stay with them. And that and we're actually friends to this day. We went to elementary school together, and I don't even know. I think we ran into each other and he was like, man, call me. Like, I haven't talked to you in so long, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to him. He's like, what's going on? And me, I'm camouflaged. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. And he was like, man, where you staying at? And I was like, different, here and there. And he's got quiet and he was like, man, I feel like you lying to me. Like what's really going on? And I had to like literally pull over and break down to him. And he was like, man, I'm gonna talk to my girl at the time. And he was like, I'm gonna call you back. And it wasn't even an hour. He was like, you and the kids drive down. We're in Miami Gardens, but drive down and y'all can stay here for as long as y'all want. So it took a friend, somebody that I would never have thought that would say, hey, y'all come stay here. You get on your feet. Let us know what you need. Don't worry about anything. You're not a burden. And it took me doing that for a while. And then once I got on my feet, I moved here because my mom was here. So I moved here and it was easier for me to get on my feet. But like, I will never forget that because I felt like that's stuff family should be doing. I should be able to go to anybody, family, and say, hey, can me and the kids come stay? And that's not what I had at the time. So I'm forever grateful because it also taught me to stop. Our help isn't always going to come from where we think it is either.
Right.
So for a long time, I carried that bitterness around, not even knowing, hey, my family should have done more. They should have done more. No, they shouldn't. We think that, but sometimes that doesn't play out like that. So if it had, I wouldn't be where I am now and able to help. So I think everything I've gone through, God has not just, he's always allowed someone other than where I'm thinking help should come from. It came from another outlet.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I've noticed
but
that
it's
happens
hard.
a lot of times. It is, like if you don't have that, foundation,
Mhm.
where, like you said, where you're thinking your foundation should be
Mhm.
is initially your family, and then everything else, like, okay, that's extra.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the other way around.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of people who are in that situation where, they can't go home and, they have nobody to speak to there. So like
Mhm.
their friends are their family,
Yeah.
so, and let's be real, that's the family that you choose, right? Your
Yeah.
friends, like, so a lot of times for me, I don't have like, I have a lot of people that I've known for years, but I don't consider them friends. I consider them family, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So and if I call somebody my friend, most likely it's somebody I just met. As opposed to
Yeah.
somebody I've known for years. Like, no, that's family. That's my play
Right.
cousin.
Right.
That's my god brother, my god sister.
Yep. Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to Life. I appreciate it. It was
Welcome.
definitely a joy to have you. Give out your social media for people to find you.
Okay. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Jolie Rashawn. My website is www.jolierashawn.info. If you want to send me an email, it is focus@jolierashawn.info. Try to keep it simple. I can't remember all that underscore, period, dot, all that stuff. So I forgot. But definitely reach out. I'm also starting a community group called I'm debating, but I think it's going to be called Boss Up Academy, just
Mhm.
because now, like with the way society is going, anybody can be a boss. Why not?
Mhm.
Why not start something on your own?
I want to be a boss.
Yeah, you already a boss. Yeah, you
Well, thank
already
you,
a
honey.
boss. So I'm working on that now, working on a couple of different things, but definitely reach out, follow me, um, send me an email or what have you. Definitely you can approach me. I'm a social butterfly, so I'll
A
respond
shy
back.
social butterfly.
I'm working on it.
I think you're doing fine. Yeah, I would
Well,
have never
thank
thought you were
you.
shy. So, I was like, how's she doing all this? Is she shy? Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't see the knees shaking underneath the dress when I be talking.
Oh,
So
stop it. Tell us anything. Tell us anything. And where can they find your books?
so they are on Amazon. They're also on the website. So even if you don't like going to Amazon take their time sometimes, but you can order it directly off of the site as well. So, yep. And then if
Awesome.
you're in the DFW area, I do deliver on hand
Okay.
and personalize and sign it for you and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's nice. How many authors will actually just hand deliver a book to you?
Yeah, because I like to be personable.
Because she's shy. Because she's
Right?
shy.
Because I am.
I don't know any shy people will be like, I will meet you at the airport to hand you over your personal book.
Well, I
My
guess
behind was like, you'll get it in 10 to 14 business days.
look, and
But I'm
that's
in
the
your
email.
area 10 to 14 business days. I didn't
Oh my God.
stutter.
Right. Oh my God.
Oh, once again, thank you for joining Life.
You're so
L.Y.F. Love
welcome.
yourself first. I'm Cola Taylor, and we're out.
Thank you.